I recently made a Power Rise 3 tier list and asked for a comment if anyone disagreed with my ranking. Well, I got more than just comments. I got a reactions video from MikuChibi himself and a response from a member of the top guilds in global. So today I'm going to compare our tier list and break down the key differences so that you can get a more holistic view of this ranking. Okay, so this is my tier list. If you want to know my reasoning for ranking them, you can watch my previous video where I explain in detail my reasoning for each one of them. Now let's take a look at where my list differ from MikuChibi's tier list. So this one right here is his tier list, and you can see his reasoning on his videos as well. But to summarize, the major difference between these two is because I am ranking all of these based on their raw damage potentials, while MikuChibi is ranking his tier list based on the flexibility on potentials built, like how easy it is to fit them in any build. So a lot of the skills that he ranked on a higher tier usually have similar traits that not only that they have strong bonuses but also have a simple condition to activate them, like how he ranked this Heathcliff PR3 skills at the top of the list because the conditions to activate the bonus is not equipping Kirito's skill. Well, these silica skills that I rank at the top require us to equip multiple silica and Lisbeth skills before we can get the bonuses. And this blue rose Kirito skills that I have at B tier, he have it ranked at top E tier because of the same reasons, where they just need one condition to activate the useful bonuses. Though I'm quite surprised that he did not rank these three skills here higher because of those reasonings. I will put these three skills here to low B tier based on his reasonings because the bonuses are very easy to activate. Especially these two skills right here because the conditions to activate it is just not using any Alice skill. Then the other major disagreement is on my placements on the Axel Power Rise 3 skills on E tier here. He bumps it up to C tier because the endgame bosses can apply at least one of these status ailments that it will immobilize our player, as well as the item lock. So we will always want to use those status resistance on higher floor bosses, and very likely the future content as well. This makes perfect sense actually. Personally, I usually use the resistance skills on my second sets, while my main set always have a full damage build with a full burst and burst skill if possible. That's why I rank it low on the list since it's not part of my main build. But I can agree that not everyone will have access to burst and full burst and will want to use those skills on their build for survivability. This is also because I'm more casual player and avoid difficult fights when I don't have the appropriate skill, so don't follow my example. And the third one here is the positioning of the full burst Power Rise 3, which I have an A tier and he moved it to C tier. It's a last minute adjustment on his end because he didn't explain it in his video and he seems to agree with me before that it's being in the A tier. But on his tier list at the end of his video he did mention that he want to move that into the C tier, so I move it in C tier here, so you're welcome MikuChibi. But the reasoning for this one I think is the same as the response that I got from the member of the top tier guild here. So I don't have his full tier list, but I take note on the one where he has a strong rejections and the reasoning behind them. So like MikuChibi, he put the Power Rise 3 with the full burst somewhere in a C tier. And the reason for that is because there are better full burst ability to use, mainly the full burst ability skill with the Bloody Battle Strike, Slash and Thrust that can give up to 35% or 40% attack when we attack certain enemy weaknesses. Plus skill that require ailment will be missing that 20% attack that usually other Power Rise 3 skill has. Well, to me it still looked like a good trade if we can apply the status ailment because we gain 30% attack while missing the 20% attack, but we'll be missing the elemental damage. If you have a build that can utilize the elemental damage, it makes a perfect sense, though if we have the full burst ability with the Bloody Battle Slash, Strike or Thrust, we will want to equip that skill instead of the full burst with the Power Rise ability 3. So I can see his reasoning why he wants to rank it that low, since at a certain point we will probably stop using those ability skills entirely. So his perspective of the tier list is based on the latest and most current strongest meta builds and endgame bosses. So it makes perfect sense that those skills will not have a place in the current meta. So I try to reconstruct his tier list based on his input, so I don't have, again I don't have the full list, but this is mostly what it will look like. So he mentions that in his tier list there will be a SSS tiers, which is the skills that are useful for the current meta. And the skill in that tier list is the Wolf Girl Asuna and the Resurrecting Clash Yuki skills. This is because the strongest meta skill at the moment for slash weapon is the Battle of Life and Death Kirito skill, or the Starburst Stream skills, and the Lightning Sword Flash Yuki, that both have a bonuses that will be activated if we have 2 Asuna skills in the set. So if you have the Wolf Girl Asuna, you only need 1 more Asuna skill, making the skills is a must-have in the strongest meta build. Arguably, the School Madonna Asuna would also make it in this strongest list based on this reasoning, but the Wolf Girl Asuna is better because that is an awakening skill and it is easier to activate the 20% attack compared to School Madonna, because this one requires an Argo skill, while the other one is just not equipping any Alice skills. And the Resurrecting Clash Yuki skill makes it in the top of the list because the strongest meta build for Thrust Weapon is our Wishes Combined Asuna that requires 2 Yuki skill. So that skill would be perfect for the set, considering that it is the best Yuki Power Rise 3 skills, and all of us agree that it is on the S tier. He also mentioned that the Silica and Headcliff skills should not be at the S tier because they cannot be slotted in the meta build. We cannot put this Heathcliff skill with the Battle of Life and Death Kirito because it cannot activate the rest of the bonus, and the Silica skill is simply just too hard to slot in any meta build due to the steep requirements of getting those bonuses. Another in the list that gets a very strong rejections are the Axel Power Rise 3 skills, which he also put in SSS tier because the latest integral weapon farmable boss, the F19, applies sleeps, and without a sleep resistance, fighting that boss is really hard. I have not fought that boss yet, honestly, but I know that it is really hard to avoid the Chaos Stick boss attack, which this boss is based on, so it makes sense. Also, it is very likely that the next boss to follow will apply those status ailments that can immobilize our player, so the status ailment resistance will be more useful compared to having more damage. Okay, so that's mostly what they say. Now you have seen 3 different tier lists based on 3 different perspectives here, depending on your current progression and your playstyles. My list is totally based on the raw damage potentials and a little bit of utility because I'm thinking that not everyone will have access to the best skill out there, but it certainly has flaw, as the other 2 has pointed out. While they have the potentials to be in a higher tier, they may not be as high as what I claim it to be when used in the actual build right now, because there may not be a strong skill that can support them. Maybe in the future those skills will live to its full potential. MikuChibi's list is based on how easy they can be used in any build, and the last tier list is based on the current strongest meta and content. So it only ranks the one that at the very current moment are very useful for building the strongest set possible and fighting the end game bosses. As the meta changes though, the list will also change. There you have it, the 3 tier list. I certainly learned a lot of things from these discussions and how more experienced players value the skill records. Hopefully you all learned something too. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to my channel and MikuChibi channel for more SAO Integral Factor content. Bye now!